Hey Ivan, it's Jeff. Just wanted to give you a quick update on the car. The little blue four-door. We're on the second test drive here, so I think I'm just starting to roll into about 100 miles on it. Everything looks like it's good to go. I cannot believe, I didn't realize it must have been a huge oil user before. The exhaust system had a ton of oil in it, and when we first fired it up, holy smokes, I thought the motor had a broken ring or something. It just smoked and smoked. Oh, and I remember as soon as we started to warm it up on fast idle, the inside of the shop disappeared, the parking lot outside the door. It was just incredible. And anyhow, it took a real good, real hard test drive down the highway to get that exhaust on and burn up all that oil. But for a minute there, I was thinking that the motor was broken. Just amazing. Usually we only see that like when a piston's broken or something, and the motor just sucked 3 or 4 quarts of oil through it. But yeah, just the inside was just coated. In fact, it took for the longest because it doesn't have as much heat back by the muffler, but it just sat there on fast idle for about an hour and a half or something before it finally just toned down so you could really drive it without going out and drawing attention to yourself. But just a little funny thing that we ran into. At any rate, the car seems to work real good and stuff. Just like most Geos, and you're already probably used to it, but the temperature gauge is the ohms reading's off on it a little bit. But that's what the new thermostat, and right there is a valve really where it should be, like in the middle. And if you ever take the cluster out of it, if you're really, really careful, you could actually pop that off and move it back over and push it back on and put it in the middle. It's not a proper fix, but it's kind of a pain to go out and get a gauge and switch it. There's also 2 Phillips screws. You could switch it out if you want, or just leave it where it's at, as long as you know that's where hot is. So on yours now, overheating is probably 3/4 of the way. But yeah, we're good to go. The throttle body on it, it's got a little flutter in it when you first take off from a stop sign and get on the throttle. It's got a little bobble. I'm going to try to adjust the TPS switch up, and see if I can I think maybe the computer's not injecting fuel right when you touch the throttle. So I'll bring that TPS switch in a little bit. You spend so much time in a Geo barely on the throttle pedal that the TPS switches, they wear out right down there at the very bottom, and it gives them little flat spots. Really super common. So we just adjust it up to, like, instead of it coming in like from 5 to 10% where they're really usually kind of wore out, we just make it come in at 10%, and the computer technically doesn't really know that. It just knows that it's time to inject the fuel or to increase the on time. Let's see here. Well, it's got good power right there from acceleration. That's from, I was doing 45, and now we're up to 55. I'm in 4th gear. And if I go into 5th gear and do that, it's got that little bit of bobble because in fact, I'll show you what I mean really quick. That'll probably make me a liar and drive perfect. But I'm going to just lower it down just a tiny bit and get into it. There's just a little, it could be the throttle body just kind of, well, there's something definitely there. It's not that big of a deal, but I'll see if I can get that to go away. If not, get that throttle body off and just take it apart and clean it out someday in the future. Maybe when you bring it back from a re-inspection, if you want to just rebuild it. Such a simple throttle body, they generally don't have too many issues. But when they do, you gotta just kind of deal with it. Alright, well, I'm going to keep this to about 5 minutes, and I'll send you a link to it, and we'll see if I can't get this back to you towards the end of the week. I was going to try to give it back to you yesterday, but we that oil smoke and stuff on it. I wanted to keep it an extra couple of days, and we had to get that smoke. You would not believe how much smoke there was. The first night I was going to drive it, I was afraid that I could pull over in it. And the next day I ran it for a little while, and it cleaned itself up. And then I got back in it and took it for a drive. And the difference between the heat of the exhaust when it's idle versus driving down the road must be quite a bit, because it started smoking again. So then we just finally took it over to a real steep hill that we have that's about a mile long. I just ran it up and down it about 10 times, got the exhaust really hot. Now it's perfect. But at any rate, I'll get this